Your Honor, Judge Heen, does the Kingdom of Hawaii continue to exist?
I'm sorry?
Does the Kingdom of Hawaii continue to exist?
Judge, please do not answer. I'm going to sustain the objection.
Well, Your Honor,
It's outside the scope.
it's not outside the scope, and let me tell you why. Again, he did indicate that he operated under the authority of the University of Hawaii through its general lease. So my question goes to, depending on his answer, my question goes to whether that general lease is in fact continues to be effective.
That's not what you asked him, and I'm sustaining the objection.
Your Honor, the general lease that existed at the time of your tenure as director of OMKM, that general lease, in fact, existed between the University of Hawaii and the state of Hawaii.
Yes.
Okay. In that context, Your Honor, is that general lease valid, legally valid, if the Kingdom of Hawaii continues to exist?
Objection calls for legal conclusion outside the
Sustained.
scope.
And Your Honor, I would say that while it may cause for a legal conclusion, Your Honor is the author of the decision in the state of Hawaii, in the appellate court, that raises that very question. And as the author of that opinion, he is not only qualified, but he is probably the sole person to answer that question at this time.
He's eminently qualified, but it's outside the scope.
And I would object that it's not outside the scope because, again, the authority to operate as the director of the OMKM depends on whether the lease is valid. And if the lease is not valid because the Kingdom of Hawaii continues to exist, I think it is within the scope of his direct testimony.
And I disagree, and we're not going to argue about it.
And I respectfully object to the hearings officer's conclusion on that, or the decision.
And your objection is noted.
Okay, thank you. Forgive me, Your Honor, I'm going to ask a few more questions. Isn't it true, Your Honor, that you were provided a dissertation by Dr. Keanu Sai, that touched upon the matters...
Can you spell that, if you don't mind?
Doctor is, of course, and Keanu is Keanu, and Sai is Sai.
Thank you.
Okay. That you were provided a dissertation by Dr. Keanu Sai that addressed the concerns that you voiced, or not the concerns, that addressed the holdings that you made as the appellate court judge in Lorenzo versus State of Hawaii.
Outside the scope, Your Honor.
Mr. Kayama, I think I've already ruled on this issue, and I'm going to ask you to move to another area.
And with all respect, Your Honor, I do believe the hearings officer, in fact, I maintain that the hearings officer's decision was an error. And I do believe that the person that can clarify that error would be, in fact, the very person that's sitting as a witness right now, the author of the appellate court decision that has been relied on since 1994 as precedent and still is the controlling case in Hawaii today that touches upon this very subject. So with all respect, Your Honor, I know you may have ruled. I respectfully submit that the hearings officer's decision was incorrect. And I do believe Judge Heen would be the person that can clarify and clear up the inconsistency, the inconsistent ruling of Your Honor, of the hearings officer in its minute order.
Your objection is noted again. Please move to another area.
Okay. And forgive me, Judge, I'm going to ask a few more questions. You likely won't be allowed to answer it, but I'm going to ask the questions for the record anyway. Isn't it true, Judge Heen, that you did state that had the evidence provided to you in the dissertation been provided to you when you were a member of the appellate court in the Lorenzo decision, if the attorney representing Lorenzo, Cully Watson, had provided you these facts and evidence, these relevant facts and evidence, that you would have overturned the district court decision and remanded it back to the district court.
That statement,
Same objection, also argumentative, move to strike the dialogue.
Your Honor, I know what your ruling is, and forgive me, but I'm just asking those questions for the record. I understand what the hearings
All
officer
right, I'm
is.
sustaining the objection. Please move on.
Okay, thank you. Judge Heen, Your Honor, in your written direct testimony, when you talk about apparent authority, when you talk about the authority under which the OMKM was established by the university, are you not making legal conclusions in your written direct testimony?
well, I suppose technically you'd have to say yes, but I'm just giving you the record.
Okay, and the reason I asked the question is because I'd like to get to these questions that they aren't allowing me to ask. But if you are making legal conclusions, then and we know that you are eminently qualified to make those legal conclusions, then isn't it fair to say that the questions I ask, which relate to these legal conclusions, should be answered, are questions that could and should be answered by your
Mr.
Honor.
Kayama, that question is very inappropriate. You're asking him to comment on my ruling.
No, I'm not asking him to comment on your ruling.
That's what I'm hearing.
I'm asking him if he can draw legal conclusions in his written direct testimony. My question is, am I not allowed, because he is qualified, am I not allowed to ask him questions that draws upon legal conclusions that may contradict his written direct testimony?
I've already ruled on the objections, and now you're asking him to comment on that ruling. So I'm going to ask you to get to another area.
And please, Your Honor, it is all with all respect that I ask these questions.
And I don't take offense.
Yes.
But it is my job to make sure that we are not cumulative, appropriate, and I'm going to ask you to please move to another area.
Thank you, Your Honor. It has been a pleasure. I wish we have a chance at some point to just kuka. Thank you.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kayama.